Hello. Welcome to our panel session, Spilling the Tea After a Summer of Cybersecurity. I'm Dana Torgerson, Director of Security Product Marketing here at Sumo Logic. And with me virtually today is Enrico Benzoni, Manager, Marketing and Technical Alliances, and Fabian Rodriguez, Security Technical Marketing Manager with Sumo Logic. Hey, thanks for joining me today, fellas. How are you both doing?
Very well, thank
Doing really
you.
good, Dana.
Well, good. Folks, we know summertime was a great opportunity for cyber criminals to ramp up their phishing attacks and perform CEO spoofing because let's be honest, so many employees were either out on holiday, just came back from holiday, and had a mountain of emails to sift through, or they were just planning their next weekend of camping or amusement parks with their family. And nobody really knew where their CEO actually was. Yet we all got texts from them saying, "Hey, Dana, can't talk. I'm in the meeting, but need you to approve an electronic payment." So Fabian, let me start off with you. What did the summer of cybersecurity look like for the threat landscape? What have you been hearing about?
Well, Dana, thank you, first of all, for inviting me to this. I've been really looking forward to it. So thank you so much. Regarding your question, well, sometimes, summer is a great time for all of us, right? It offers a break from cyber attacks and campaigns and so on and so forth. Because, let's be honest, the bad actors are humans too, right? They do go on vacation. They gotta have somewhere to spend their money on, right? So we all know that things are monetary now. Actually, case in point, things are actually changing out there, right? I don't know if you recently hear about, the AWS Lambda service attack by Denonia, right? So that was reported actually by the folks at Cato Security a couple of months ago. This malware actually uses a technique that compromises access and secret keys. And then what it does, it manually installs the malware to hack the Lambda installation. This one is actually called Denonia. It's named after the Denonia domain, which is what the malware communicates with, right? This is actually a customized version of XMBring. That's the malware actually applies an XMRig version. If you haven't heard about that, that's an open source crypto miner specifically designed to mine the Monero currency. So talking about summer, right? Don't put your guard down yet, right? The malware is actually so clever that it evades DNS. The DNS queries that are being done, it actually encrypts those queries over HTTPS, right? This is actually happening as we speak, right? That particular attack hides these DNS queries. So you don't know what the command and control servers are, right? So this new malware makes security monitoring extremely challenging because it is designed to leave little to no forensic evidence. So serverless services are no longer as safe as we previously thought, Dana.
Leave no trace. Enrico, you're in Italy there. So I gotta say, it always feels like Europe goes dark from May to September for holiday, but I'm sure cyber criminals didn't stop, right? So what was the security landscape like during the summer there?
Yeah, finally it's September. Oh. Please don't come on vacation in Europe in August, full of crazy people on vacation and criminals certainly don't stop. So the bad news is that cyber criminals use automation for their attack, and in the meantime they study how to improve their attack. So that it's a very crazy moment. We see that. Is the same of United States. So the ransomware is the one of the major attack, but different companies, different processes, different things to protect give to criminals a lot of opportunities.
Mm. Uh, Speaking of opportunities, I also think about, here in the United States, you just have to turn on the news and you can hear about recent recessionary concerns, the dwindling value of our dollar. And we even had predictions of $8 a gallon gas out here in California. What what do you fellas think about security and compliance teams? What do you think they're doing around their budgeting amidst a recession? Should should they even dare think about scaling back their budgets? Fabian, what do you think about that?
Dana, very good question. I truly hope they're not thinking about cutting anything because two things are certain in security operations. Compliance regulations, they're not going away. And the target is still out there, right? So if you think about the compliance regulations, right, you lose your certification, the fines, the fees, the penalty, including the additional time that gets spent just trying to circumvent and alleviate and the cost savings that you envision basically are wiped out, right? They are still out there, right? Targeting your people, targeting your infrastructure, your supply chain processes, your data sources as you prepare for your next upcoming audit. Finding ways to consolidate those overlaps can lead to some quick wins and cost savings for your organization. Now, here's another take. I was around back in 2008 when the gas prices were at record highs. People were losing jobs, having their houses foreclosed, right? This was not happening in the security industry for what I saw. In fact, I actually took a 3-year contract. I remember those times there. That was with the largest international casino resorts in the world. They actually decided to take advantage of that downtime, meaning people not going to casinos to spend money, right? Those were bad times for that. They repurposed the budget for customer-facing applications projects. They took on new security projects. So they took advantage of that downtime on that demand on that side, right? That they would otherwise be there, right? So, these applications that had that return on investment were deprioritized during this time. So in our industry, has always been a challenge with the return on investment on security, right? We're always trying to bring down and minimize the exposure and the risk factor, right? But the return investment is not there. So normally those applications that have that return on investment, customer facing, they will get the priority, they will get the budget. During these times, it's actually time to ramp up your security. That's my opinion.
That makes perfect sense. Enrico, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, Fabian is right. So scaling back, never. So the question is how to get the leadership team to approve the cybersecurity budget. So what is cybersecurity? Cybersecurity is not just a technical issue. So it's a business issue. It has to protect every process of the firm, and every process in the firm is different because business are different. So the cybersecurity leader has to be a director, a manager, has to talk about business, and he has to demonstrate the ROI of the budget request. He has to optimize what he already have, and he has to realize the risk of not investing. So basically, this is obviously what he can do. But in addition, one thing that I have seen that really works is improving the cybersecurity culture. So, many people think that cybersecurity teams are the only one responsible for cybersecurity. It's not true. So, all the organization has to be the responsible of cybersecurity problems because the final user is one of the main problem that cybersecurity team have. No, and so when your organization have to add a new tool, a new IoT device, a new machinery, a new app, a new website, whatever they have to add, you have to insist for adding or their budget a cybersecurity voice. So you do not have to ask your cybersecurity budget, but you will split your cybersecurity needs on the other's budget. No, make sense?
That does actually make sense, yeah. Now, I'm sure some of our viewers out there, they're struggling with improving their threat investigation or response times, and I bet the idea of investing in a SOAR solution may have crossed their minds. And even teams who've invested in SOAR already, I've heard they're overly cautious, and maybe rightly so, about totally automating all the response processes. So Enrico, how can organizations, some of our viewers right here today, how could they make sure that they strike the right balance between both automation and human intervention?
Yeah, for sure. One thing that when someone approaches the SOAR, has to be aware that the SOAR doesn't replace humans, augments humans, because you can't respond to a human with automation with just a tool. Okay, so the SOAR allow you to manage many different tools through one platform. You can skip a lot of manual tasks, and for sure you have to skip the enrichment task, everything that give you some advantages. So you have to collect all the information in the very few time, and then you have to analyze with your analyst the collected information and take decisions, or adding a new investigation, or take escalation, so that you have to have structured processes that allow your analyst to take well decisions. So that is one of the main things. So the automation really helps in skipping time-consuming tasks, but for taking decisions and have a look on what happened in a specific incident, humans are fundamental. And this is our approach. So we think that the human has to be the central part of the cybersecurity, and our SOAR reflect this through the Secos dashboard, the war room, and everything in one place, easy to use.
Yeah, keeping those folks at the hub there and then using the tool to their advantage. So let me also follow up with another question then that comes to mind. What are some common things that security teams should start with, or what should they automate first?
Yeah. So the also do playbooks, but automation is much more on that. So basically, we always suggest to analyze your standard operating procedures, and if a process works manually, will work also after the using of automation. So you can use a full automation for enrichment, for notification, but for containment action, we always suggest to add before that a user choice or a manual execution, so you can check the results, or you can decide if you have to block something before analyzing why you are blocking that, because full automation in many cases should be very dangerous. So that is our approach. So first, enrichment, and everything give you advantages in terms of time, and then you can improve also other automation capabilities, such as daemon, such as triggers, that are other use of automation outside the playbook, so that you can automate whatever you want, but you have to know your processes first, human first.
Well, thanks, Enrico. That does definitely cover the process side of security. And if we think about the technology side, Fabian, what's the next area of security technology that our viewers, should keep an eye out for? I mean, I hear a lot about deception security tools. They're gaining interest, for example.
Dana, can I take that?
Yeah, it's for you, Fabian. Yep.
Yeah, so deception, I'm glad you bring that up, right? I have this opinion of not ready for prime time yet. Being leveraged, being used for a few years now. I have actually been keeping track for at least the 5 to 7 years, somewhere in there, right? What I found out, again, based on somewhat of a research that I do here on my quote unquote free time, it might be more suitable for government research facilities, maybe organizations that have a dedicated team to monitor and do the necessary care and fitting of these technologies. It requires skill set, it requires knowledge and experience in the security arena. And we all know how hard it is to find that type of talent out there nowadays, right? I'll tell you what works, in my opinion, is showing value, and is combining the health of monitoring what we would term as observability. We're talking about monitoring the health of your machines, your serverless services, your cloud computing, and combine that with the security and these modern cloud native apps, right? I think organizations need to seek out technologies that can take your logs, but not just your logs. Take your metrics, take your traces, and bring that together with the visibility into what your Kubernetes, your containers are doing. And thread that together with all other on-prem and security detection tools. Now, lastly, API security. API security monitoring is also something that I think of a great addition to your existing SOC tools. This is a tool you want to have on your toolbox. API security is now making it to the top of the list of the targets for those bad actors to exploit, target, and attack.
Sure. Well, how about Enrico? What areas of security do you think folks should keep an eye out for?
Yeah, so the very good question. There are so many technologies that are growing. So you have a prevention tool, you have the detection tool, response tool. So what I have seen that about the detection capabilities. So for example, our approach is to monitor everything is working well, knowing what good is. So and knowing that every application of yours is sending accurate and real-time information allow you to generate alerts, and those alerts, if they are accurate, reduce the noise, so you reduce a lot of false positives, so you save the time to the analyst. So that is one of the bad things when you think a new technology that you have to think when we talk about um, detection. When we talk about a response, obviously SOAR is one of the main technology that you can have. I'm not the product marketing for SOAR, no. No, joke apart. So the flexibility that the SOAR guarantee to you is something that is really requested, because the cyber attackers use automation. You should use automation to collect everything, as I said you before. And another thing that is very interesting is the cyber range. Cyber range is something that is growing because allow you to test your environment, your network, and your processes in a fake environment, but that it seems real. So when you have a plan, when you have a response plan, you have to test the plan, not just during the incident. You have to test during the year. So it's another interesting technology. About the deception, so I love deception because suppose to have 1,000 doors. Every doors is open, but every doors have an alarm. So
The fake door.
when the attackers open the door, you can follow what he do, what he would like to discover. But you have to have a lot of skill to use that. So it's very interesting. Can be the future of the prevention, because will be hard for attackers to enter, but yeah, today, as Fabian said, you have to understand well your skill and other things.
And it sounds like you're going to need to have a lot of experienced professionals, and those seem to be kind of hard to come by these days. So you can never hire enough folks. Well, at this point, I think we can wrap things up. Fabian, Enrico, thank you for taking the time with me today.
Absolutely, Dana. Thank you for inviting us.
And finally, I want to give a quick shout out to all of our amazing customers, and thank you from everyone here at Sumo Logic. With that, have a great day, everyone.